Perhaps the most shocking story comes from the Smalls Rock of Pembrokeshire, where keepers first learned the folly of working in pairs. 2 keepers had just begun their 3-month tour of duty when one became ill. Sickness was an accepted part of Victorian life, and without medical help, it was perhaps no surprise when the keeper wasted away and eventually died. The surviving keeper, knowing that he had now to supervise the light single-handed, prepared his friend for burial. First, he wrapped him in a canvas sail, sewing him in to ensure he was secure, and then he said a short prayer and dragged the body toward the sea. The keeper hesitated for a moment, contemplating the loneliness he would have to endure over the next 3 months, but sighed and prepared to drop his friend into the sea. It was only then that he realized his position. There were no witnesses out here, and nobody's word save his own that his friend had died of disease. It was not unknown for lighthouse keepers to quarrel. It was natural for 2 men, trapped in isolation for months, to resent the other's irritating habits. Arguments could escalate into violence, even into murder. He might be accused of murdering his colleague. The keeper nodded. No, he could not bury his companion yet. First he had to tell somebody what had happened, show them that there were no wounds on the body. Accordingly, he tried to signal to every ship that passed, but in the days before radio, when ships tried to give lighthouses and their dangerous rocks a wide berth, nobody replied. The keeper began to resent his dead friend and dragged him outside the lighthouse. To keep the body safe, he hung it, still secured in its canvas shroud, on the galley that surrounded the light. Without the body, there was more space inside the lighthouse, but every time he looked outside, the keeper saw the shrouded shape of his comrade swaying against the glass. At night, the light slowly turned, so one minute there was darkness in memory, the next there was the body, ghostly white in the sudden gleam. The keeper began to imagine things. Each sound of the wind was transformed into his friend clawing clear of the canvas. Each squall of a gull was his comrade complaining against the chill of the night. Days passed, then weeks, sliding into long, slow months, and finally the relief boat set out with a new crew. The keeper waited for them, frothing at the mouth with madness after spending months alone with his fears and the decomposing mess that had been his companion. Now, of course, the lights are automatic, and there is no reason for men to spend long, lonely months surrounded by the sea, watching and waiting.